So, as we return to the new year, our first game of the 2024 season, the Soldiers of Eon have kind of Scooby-Dooed in town a bit. Several of them going to different places, achieving different things, having negative results in different things, positive results, and all together doing their regular brand of chaos and incitement of conundrums. I believe several of you stayed up in your rooms up at the Humble Brag, being Dro, Yaslin, Leo, and Dyer. And the rest of them have gone out and made some sort of to-be-determined value deal for a potential ride. And are on their way back. Sans one shape-shifting lobster. As Margot and Dauphin have an argument that leads Dauphin to question his belonging and collective connection to the group. He utilizes his connection with the new book and decides to go and pursue a new clue. It may lead him to the ancient spirits that he seeks. Seamus and Margot, prior to that, make a new deal that they will have to explain to the group at some point. I'm sure the world will be thrilled that there's a new bargain in the group. Oh, the snugs are so fierce. And so, those of you that stay behind in the Humble Brag, what is it that you were doing? I kicked my dogs out of my office.
This is the next morning, right?
More like, I think this is still the night before everybody regroups.
We long rested, though.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, we did? Okay, so...
Yeah. So it would have been the next morning, for sure.
Yep, so this is the next morning before you guys, as those of you that went out come back rather late. You all come back and settle down and regroup in the morning. Thank you for reminding me where we were at.
Yeah, we had chatted in the morning about them going and sussing out the place, so we were waiting for them to come back. And I think our plan was just to kind of hang out in the bar and not go too far, so that none of us really felt really welcome in this town either. I think so. None of us really wanted to venture out a whole bunch, but we did want more information, and I think that we were trying to figure out how to get north here. Aurora's Rest bound. Aurora's Rest or bust.
You sent the shortest in the group and a dog.
Oh, great.
Out.
Oh my god.
So apparently I very much so forgot where we were at. So take it away, guys. What are you doing?
I wasn't in last session, so I don't remember.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we talked for a little bit. Seamus explained where the airship place was, and then he sent Margot and Dauphin Dog out to negotiate, and one thing led to another. And Margot has kind of a deal, and Dauphin doesn't like the deal she made and left, but she doesn't know he's gone for good.
Where's Seamus?
So I guess she would be heading back.
Seamus would have been back at the tavern place that we stayed at, hanging out with everyone, and just listening into stuff.
So, why did we agree to let Margot go by herself?
I had a dog at the time.
Not by herself. She had a dog. Is
Whose
that dog now missing?
whose
Perhaps.
social skills are?
I rolled a natural 20 persuasion check last time. Those are great social skills.
Okay,
Oh, she's not talking
sorcerer.
about you. She's talking about Doff Dog's social skills, or lack thereof.
That's why it was a dog.
Yeah, he was a dog. He just needed to look like not threatening, basically, or like Sue. I don't know, depending on how these people. Like, I'm not judging these smaller people, but
Oh, but they're judging us.
there's definitely some judgment going on in town.
Okay. So the rest of us are in the top floor of the room then, minus Margot and a dog.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna go down for drinks and hang out and listen in to conversations and stuff. Try to keep Yaslin from throwing one of them again.
Okay.
So we're taking her down to where they are.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
So we have agreed that it is the morning, and you guys are at the bar.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm coming back alone through the streets.
How long has Margot been gone? Since we came down, had conversations.
How far is the airship factory?
It's basically on the other side of town. That didn't work. So Margot's probably been gone about an hour, hour and a half. She's probably on the way back. She's probably 10 to 15 minutes away at this point by foot.
An hour has passed. Look over at Seamus. Are you sure it was a good idea to let her go by herself, at least without you? You know, the one that likes to make the deals. We sent her with herself with probably the most lacking in people skills with her.
No, they weren't supposed to do any of the dealing. They were just supposed to get some information, find out about the place, without causing too much of a stir. And since she was the weest of the folk amongst us, then we figured she'd be the best one to send. But, as you pointed out, we didn't want to send her alone, so we didn't want to have any of the other members of the party who might also cause problems. Yaslin?
Drove like side eyes, Yaslin.
Corin is in the corner trying to look as small as possible. Then I wouldn't want to go. I don't think they would welcome it.
Plus, we thought that she might use her, mind powers or whatever to learn information about the different companies. So, hoping she gets back and has a business opportunity or some ideas about who to talk to, and we'll see if Dolphin sniffed out anything important along the way.
Her ability to not understand personal space may be beneficial. The concern is she's...
Well, that's the first that we've ever heard that from you, Drow. And Dyer's like drinking an ale.
Is there like a coin or something there?
I mean, you've got your coin pouch.
I'm wasting mine. I want to find like a pebble or something and just kind of do like the little flick towards him and try to hit the drink that's in his hand. And look back at Seamus.
I'm telling her that you said that.
I'll tell her. The concern I have is she's very, how do I put it, impulsive at times. I mean, she did back with that horror tree wanted to sacrifice herself. And now we sent her to make a deal for our transportation.
No. No deals. She's just reconnaissance. She's the one that looks most likely like she's supposed to be here.
Dyer, how much do you know of Margot?
Judging by your tone, I assume it's less than I should.
How do I put this? He just kind of looks at Seamus. She's not very patient. And her reconnaissance to me is probably different than what you expect it to be. I feel like if she sees the chance, the score deal, she's going to take it, with or without us. And that is why my concern is, look over at Seamus, you seem to be rubbing off on her a little bit when it comes to business. And I question what her morals is with that right now.
All of your points are well taken, for sure. And, you know, it's a new team, and so we're trying to figure out how to work together. It may not have been the right decision, but we'll see how it plays out. I mean, we barely made it into town. We're just trying to move in a direction, and you know, I'm gonna have to try to trust each other at some point around here.
I don't think it's a lack of trust, just more of questioning the results she brings compared to what you would bring. Or the approach that she takes. Again, if you remember our meetings with her, me and Yaslin more thoroughly, she likes to literally get into people's heads. Some people may not take too kindly to that.
She's made it this far in life, so I assume that she's got some sense about her to make it across the city and back, but we'll see how things turn out. Hope for the best.
Sure will be eventful, I can probably assure that. Also,
So,
Seamus, I had mentioned a while back, when we get to Aurora's Rest, do you recall the conversation we had about the reputation of mine there?
Seems a bit up in the air at the moment.
I just want to ensure that the option of your trick that you can do with masking your appearance is still an option, if needed.
I'm sure we can work something out. Do you want to try to go into town in disguise?
I don't know yet. Like I mentioned, I am forcefully left there on not great terms. The bright side we have, it is a very large city. The chance of somebody recognizing me, I'll kind of stop for a minute and kind of look off in the distance, is slim. So that may not have to be an option. We may be able to just walk in. I'll just keep my hood up. And it wouldn't be as abnormal us walking in. I mean, it is what a lot call a melting pot of people. So we could use that to our advantage. And if I remember, I know a few familiar alleyways I can cut through and stick to the shadows if need be.
I don't think that I can mask who you are per se, but I could just get you into the city invisible like. It seems that we should do some reconnaissance to Aurora's Rest in the same way that we are with the ships, and just try to get an idea on what things are like. Take the temperature. It's something I've done in many cities before to find out how things were going or how they'd feel about certain things. Like, there's some towns in Aeon that outlaw magic. There's towns that will go after someone for the colors of their skin, or if they're an elephant person, or who knows. It's always good to know where you're heading into before you get there. Hopefully Dyer can help us out with some of this stuff. He's a pretty knowledgeable guy. But Aeon's ever changing, but we'll keep doing what we can to keep informed, and yeah, we'll make sure that we find out where your standing is before you're standing in front of him.
And again, hopefully, most of the time actually, there is quite a few alcohol-friendly individuals, so memory of theirs may not be the greatest, which again could be to our benefit. But yeah, it may not be a bad idea to just see what we're getting ourselves into.
Grow. When we first started this, I basically said that I wouldn't pry too deeply and didn't actually have to answer. But what are you comfortable sharing with us about your situation in Aurora's Rest? Is it something where having additional context would help us?
Well, I had mentioned, I don't actually quite remember if you were with us, Dyer, the reason for my drastic leave. From what I can remember, and what everything points to, is I had, well, kind of me. He struggles to say it. Murdered the daughter of a well-known family. Unintentionally. But they didn't see it that way. The concern is the family who the woman was a part of, plus the family that was involved in the conflict, are well known in their own ways in the city. So I'm unsure what connections they have, what eyes are lying in the city. Because when travelers go into Aurora's Rest, they see this beautiful, colorful city that's in reality a non-stop party. On the counter to that is a perfect spot for more shadier stuff. So
Makes sense. Anything that is, a constant breeding ground for having the most fun possible. It breeds all sorts of illicit dealings in the process.
right, and these two families don't get along. But the woman that was involved with was the only person that treated me like a normal person. Treated Echo like a normal person.
And Echo, is this not you that you mentioned? Oh,
Stro will reach into the bag and pull out the carving he had made and point to the two figures that looked fairly identical, but point to the one with the markings across his face. The rest of the group here has met him. Some more than others. We tended to share the same body, but not at the same time. And that night, from what I can remember personally, is seeing a woman being attacked by robed figures. And all I remember was darkness, and not a darkness I can typically see in. And then next, the body is in my arms, covered in blood. The sword that belongs to Echo, covered in that same blood. And all I can remember from Echo is saying he's sorry. And long story short, I was told to leave quickly before anything else happened. So I don't know who saw, who remembered, who's connected to the family. To be honest, her family didn't really like me much to begin with because of who I am. So, hence the concern of going back to the place where I'm considered a murderer.
So why did we pick this place again?
That is a good question.
well, it's not too late to change our destination. Did we choose this before we knew all that? I'm fairly certain that we did.
Yeah, for the most part, Seamus, I know we intended to go to Dent, and Aurora's Rest did have a portal. There is also...
We're trying to get to the Guild of Knowledge, and there's a portal in Aeon's Rest. There's a few around, but because there was one there, we figured we'd go there. And at the time we talked about dealing with some of your problem there, but you also, I thought, mentioned that there might be resources for the cause that can help.
Yeah. There is one person in the city I can trust. He could possibly provide us with some sort of resources, let it be numbers, knowledge. Knowledge is probably a big one. And to be honest, it'd be nice to actually get a proper goodbye. And I have to go back eventually and face this, so
Location of it makes sense, I think, too, for the Ripples if they're trying to get nearby support. I think Margot was hoping maybe her peoples would also be able to contribute in some way, but there's going to be a lot of politickings going on there, I imagine.
yeah.
About that time, Margot reaches the front door. And it opens, and there's a lightning strike behind her. Like, just kidding about the lightning strike. Ah, well. Nice.
You're way
well,
too loud for that.
Speak
Sorry,
to the devil, and she shall appear. Margot! Hello!
Where?
Does she not see us? I'm waving, right? I got you a beer!
Was I
Don't
doing all
want
the
it, is
when you
what
sat
I
here
had.
and drank?
Naturally. Now stop complaining.
Hmm.
So,
He just stares at Marco.
and he's gonna like look at you for a second.
We have a ship.
We have a ship.
She hasn't started drinking, right? I only just offered it to her, and she's not hallucinating yet.
It's hard to say if she wandered into another pub down the street, but you say we scored a ship already.
Yes. A smaller ship maker who is looking to make a name for themselves.
That's very interesting.
This is different than the business is not my strong suit.
We
This is
know
a-
that.
Right. However, if you ever need me to talk somebody into something, let me know.
I think I can do that quite well enough on my own.
Well, seeing as we are now the owners of the ship, I
I
would
did not say we
so.
are owners.
You said we have a ship. That implies ownership.
That does not in
Ownership.
fact imply ownership. Just like you have a beer, you do not own the mug, the bar owns the mug.
But I own the beer.
I prestidigitate it into something that tastes like sewer water.
What? What? That was a weird change. Someday I'll take you home. That was still refreshing.
It's from the
But
swamp.
you've procured us some passage, it sounds like.
Yes, tomorrow morning I have a location for us to meet the captain and inventor. Brilliant young woman.
What is the cost of this ship we now have?
That is a cost you will not have to worry about. As you are fond of reminding me and my daddy's money, Dro.
Mid-drink.
We got you there.
That's fair. Insight check if it's actually just gold that she's talking about if there wasn't more.
Yeah, go for it.
As he's
Roll
like
that insight.
choking on his drink. 18.
With an 18, yeah, Margot, give him most of, like, kind of the implied vibe that he would get.
It wasn't gold, but it was something to do with her family and her people. Probably political.
This ship that you got with Daddy's money,
Mm-hmm.
is it a one-way trip or is it at our service now?
I think the extent of its business with us can be negotiated. At least it will get us to Aurora's rest. Perhaps a little farther before it goes where it needs to.
Where it needs to go. Did it have a previous journey it was going to go on?
No, not previous, but it does now.
Just stares at her while he takes a drink from his mug.
Did you trade the dog for the passage?
No, Dolphin's a... He got on himself about how I make deals or something, and then stormed off into the city. I don't know where he went. He left me by the air docks.
And
I assumed he was coming back here.
did you search for him?
I did not think that it was wise to wander around the city alone searching for any kind of creature that man can turn himself into.
Yeah.
Or would you like me to go out there alone again and search?
Just takes another drink.
I've been aching to get out of this little.
Yeah, but if you leave here, are you going to punch another person? Or throw
I'm
them into the
surprised you
water?
haven't punched anybody here.
She has alcohol. Keeping her busy.
True.
Absolutely terrible alcohol, by the way. This stuff does not settle very well.
Do you remember what we drank the night before? It wasn't much better.
Yeah. She takes a swing anyways.
I prestidigitate her drink to taste like a lovely floral bouquet wine.
Oh.
And just stare at Dyer.
You do realize I'm responsible for your immortal reputation, right?
I think that's I don't really give a shit about the reputation based off of how I've been going about this journey with you guys. I'm gonna look around the room. Is there anybody watching us or keeping an eye on our conversation?
Give me a perception check.
Ooh. Not great. 12.
12. You get a general sense of stink eye and why are you here, you weirdos? Nothing too heinous, but it's a lot of moving particles.
Is there any other business that we need to do in town? And I guess are we still headed to Aurora's Rest?
I think the ship can take us where we like, but I thought Aurora's rest was the goal.
Joe, are you ready to face it?
Face what?
Just stares down into his drink.
Joe's got some business he needs to resolve if he goes back to Aurora's Rest as himself. But it sounds like he's got some contacts there that could be promising for the war effort.
Business, huh?
More or less.
Do we want to try to just sneak into town, talk to your contact, and then head off to the guilds before you can stir the pot, or do you want to settle things now? And how do you want to settle things?
I don't. There. So yes, my contact I would like to get a hold of for the resources, but there is also another reason I would like to talk to him. Honestly, it's the reason it was the original reason I was planning to leave home. So I can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. And to be fair, I think it would be more obvious if we tried to sneak in, as some of us aren't the quietest. So I think it might just be better if we use the city's surroundings in general to our advantage and just walk in.
You need not to be recognized? How closely are you remembered?
The bright side, before the incident, nobody knew who I was. Honestly, I don't think they knew I existed. I stuck, ironically similar to Seamus, to the shadows. I mean, there was a few people that knew about me with no problems, but a lot of them just looked the other way. Not a lot would pay attention to a child on the streets. The big question is, people know people in the city, and I don't know who knows who. For the most part.
Well, if there's concern about you being recognized easily, depending on how well remembered you are, we could probably take care of that. And then I'm going to use what seems to be tonight's favorite spell, Prestidigitation, to
Oh my gosh.
make his hair black and then make his eyes like green. I can do something simple like this for an hour at a time.
Just picture him in black hair and green eyes.
Oh, I know. Ooh, this is throwing me off. No.
Just look down the drink and see the reflection. I mean,
I think
yes, that could help. I also just expected to just put my hood up and walk and stay between you guys.
that could work.
I mean,
Excuse me.
we're already a group that draws attention. None of us really stick out more than anyone else among our groups, so we could use that to
I
our
look at
advantage.
Yaslin.
I also look at Yaslin.
Everyone's looking
Why
at
are you looking
Yaslin.
at me?
Dro's looking at Dyer.
It's not me.
Dyer's looking at Yaslin.
Oh wow.
You did throw a kobold into the sound.
They were asking for it.
I didn't hear it, but you know, sometimes you guys are all speaking in each other's heads. It's hard to say.
That's a good point. Margot, just a heads up, probably not best to do that in Aurora's Rest, at least on the streets. You probably will hear something you don't want to. Because a lot of
I
people
look at
tend
Seamus.
to
I've
say
already
it
heard
out
that.
loud.
I appreciate you trying to protect my delicate sensibilities, Dro, but I'll be fine.
Just under his breath. I'm worried about them.
Corin, are you coming with us? Are you going after this worm that you're chasing?
I think the worm is the most pressing thing on my agenda, and that tunnel is still my best lead. I spent a little time staring around at what could be built in this place, and I may be able to find someone who can make me some sort of apparatus to dive below the new lake. Get myself under the water, follow the tunnel as far as it leads. I think that's my best bet next. To a long-term device for breathing underwater. I've got
Be
my
careful.
I appreciate that. And I've got my fair share of smithing abilities, and I think in a town like this I could use that for a bit of trade.
You should talk to Dolphin when he gets back. His people might be able to help with something exactly like that. He might be just the man for your needs.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
Just sitting here waiting for Dalton.
Perhaps our new airship captain can help. She seems quite handy with that kind of inventing.
I think, yeah, fair enough. I wouldn't mind meeting her, but I think the whole town is handy.
Fair. So just be careful going back to that lake. You never know who will go to claim the new openings
Area.
that were presented.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's part of what my concern is if I wait around too long, something new will pop into its place, and I'll lose my access. I'll have to be unfortunately stealthy, which is not my strong suit.
Don't worry, it's not a lot of ours either.
I had noticed.
Staring at Yaslin.
And he is specifically not staring at Yaslin.
Oh, good. Now you don't stare at me. I see.
This picture is saying that into her mug.
Well, yeah, let's talk to the captain in the morning. It sounds like we've got that scheduled. So we just need to make it to tomorrow without getting into too much trouble here in town before we can make our way to Aurora's Rest.
Yes, should we wait here for a dolphin, or are we rallying a search party to find what could be a rat, a cat, a dog, a bird?
Given that he knows where we're at, I think it makes sense to just stay put and not send out a search party. To be honest, this town feels like one booby trap after another.
I like what you said. A rat, a cat, a bird, a dog. It sounds like the beginning of a song.
I would not listen to that song.
Oh, if I wrote it, it would be fabulous.
Cho just looks over at Margot's and agrees.
Admittedly, I'm not much of a writer for music, though. I let the other bards handle the pretty sounds. I tell pretty stories.
Oh, you're gonna fit right in Aurora's Rest.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh boy.
And Leo kind of pipes up. Hey, Corin. What exactly is it that you're chasing again? Corn looks a little somber.
Yeah, no.
No.
My dog. Sorry.
Like, no.
Sorry.
Denied. Your quest is incorrect, Corin. You cannot chase your creature.
Do not.
The DM is not allowed to
do
write it
not
out.
collect $200.
Corin looks a little somber and kind of pipes up. There's a giant lava worm that came out of the ground and attacked my village. That's what Nora and I were chasing. But, giant creature, not necessarily made out of lava, but able to live in it. Alright, that's one thing. But this thing summoned and spewed forth an armada of creatures to do its bidding as well. It was like a walking biological fortress. Not walking, slithering. And I gotta find it and kill it. And Leo kinda thinks for a sec. Takes a drink. I may. Guys, I'm looking for the strongest and most interesting creatures I can find. A lava worm that has other things inside of it. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds, well, not cool, but interesting, powerful. That's important. I mean, if Corin is gonna do this, he might need some backup.
I could see you traveling with him. But you might also miss out on some business that way. I just want to let you know that, case. Or, Leo.
Yeah, might be a good way to expand our portfolio in more than one direction, though. Also. I mean, I'll be honest, that Party City sounds great and all, but it doesn't sound like there's a lot of creatures up there that I could get my hands on. Not in a city. So, Corin, if you'll have me, I think I'm gonna come with you. There's... Me and my partners need to strengthen up. I think a little less politics and a little more getting scrappy might be what we need.
If you find what you're looking for, or just need a place to stop again, maybe go back to the Ripples. The spa, you've got a bit of a stake there. You can always have a place to stay there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yaslin, you've got that communicator thing. Is it something that anybody can call you on?
Potentially. I've never had anyone outside of my circle.
Do you actually know how that works?
They yes.
I'm not even gonna roll inside.
Nobody's convinced by that.
Listen, they showed me kind of sort of how it worked when I got it, and I kind of maybe sort of remember how it works now.
But did you pay attention?
This is the first time I've asked for a girl's number, and she's responded with, "I don't know how to use a phone."
No.
Leo's just kind of scratching his head at that.
It usually it's not needed. Sometimes it
Ah,
Why do you ask?
because I imagine we'll need to like talk to each other at some point.
This makes sense. I won't lie, I left a lot of people back at home unread, so
Maybe we can just rely on some of the more known Aeon methods of communication.
That sounds great. Maybe I'll get one of those teleporting birds in one of my crystals. Actually, that sounds like a great idea.
That's not a bad idea
I was
at
gonna
all.
say.
that's a pretty good idea.
That's not a
actually.
bad idea at all.
That
Why
would've
did you
been
not
Okay.
think about that sooner?
I was like, why didn't we come up with this idea earlier?
Solve some problems.
Wow.
Hindsight 2020 and all that.
Sounds like
Yeah,
a
so
worthy quest.
worthy quest. Got to mug a birdman. I mean, obtain a bird legally through reasonable and fair dealings.
She'll just ask for another drink.
Colin, the friendship friends weren't officially dissolved, and I know that your name wasn't on any of the contracts officially and won't be going forward, but it has been great seeing you and working with you again, and of course, Leo will continue to keep your name on the Soldiers of Eon and increase our business holdings. No doubt, too, that you'll try to expand our business interests while you're off supporting Corin.
I'm sure I can find something. And yeah, I'll see you guys again. Just a bit of a break. Make sure that this guy who helped us out and is well taken care of. I don't feel right leaving him by himself when he's going up against something that lives inside of a volcano. I think we've been down that road. We see how nasty that particular fight looks, and it's not a one versus one sort of thing. Especially not with what he said. It sounds like it's a 1 versus thousands.
Spread the good word about the Water Champion and do what you can to help the war effort.
Of course.
This isn't just about the Soldiers of Eon, you know. It's about Aeon.
It's kind of weird. I haven't been here for very long. This place feels good. I come from a place where there's no doubt in anyone's mind who sits at the top. And here, it's still anybody's game. A monopoly on power. dealing with that with my parents. It was boring as hell. Even when I was benefiting from it. This place always has something exciting.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'll do what I can to keep Aeon moving.
Is there any supplies that the rest of you need before we head out tomorrow?
Sure, Corn, I can find what we need around town. Seems chock full of goodies.
Just a reminder, we got warm clothes, right? Okay.
Might be something that we inquire and acquire before we leave.
That might be a good idea.
Margot, when are we supposedly meeting the ship, Captain?
Tomorrow morning. I am assuming you do not have the funds to go shopping for yourselves.
Nope. I'm
We
cold.
wouldn't want to. Exactly. We wouldn't want someone like you up in the cold without some coverings.
Not at all.
Or perhaps we would. Shopping?
I don't know. You wouldn't like me when I'm cold.
Do you think I'm gonna need to pick
It's
up
not a far
anything for
stretch for
Dolphin?
now. What is?
I think he's.
You can always just turn into a bear or something, but
But that's
you know,
not
can you
all.
bring a bear into Aurora's Rest?
Fair, but I was thinking something more with blubber.
A walrus?
A what?
I don't know what that is. I think I made up a word.
Right,
We
so
can buy him something. I mean, if he needs it or not, we can make use of it either way.
Let's find us a coat store.
Just looks
something
around
around
at the surrounding people.
Like, yeah, look at the people. Do you think any of their coats are going to fit me?
Maybe we can have a couple sewn together or something. Are there any towns in between here and Aurora's Rest that we could stop at maybe?
I expect there are. The most direct route, based on where I believe we are, would be directly over sea. The peninsula kind of arcs around, and it'd basically be a near straight shot north would be the shortest route if we want something that connects the dots along the way, so we can have some more respite. It'd take longer, but we could find something, I'm sure.
Morgan, remind me. We talked about the surroundings of Aurora's Rest, hence being cold. Did we talk about inside Aurora's Rest?
Yes.
Can you message me?
Yep.
Yeah, are there going to be like towns or something that we could stop at along the way? Is Aurora Rest like cover the entire northern peninsula there? Is there like multiple villages, cities?
If I'm correct, and Morgan, correct me if I'm wrong, no, it's just Aurora's Rest at the top, and then just barren snow,
Yeah. There's
Arctic.
God.
the
Okay.
and Dro. I haven't actually been there, so I'm reciting. But from what I understand, is you have Aurora's Rest at the far north, and you can take an airship up to a certain point at which you have to land it, and you have to take a train after that because it's simply too cold for airships to work. And well, it depends on what kind of airship you have, I suppose, but more concerning is magical disturbance. Aurora's Rest was founded as a space-time magical research center because the veil of the world is thin there. Natural airship travel, from what I hear, is distorted.
What I've heard, I've personally not experienced it, but I will say, when I was there, mostly what I wear now is what I wore into the city. Obviously not made for the cold, but I will tell you, definitely not made for outside of the city. So the clothing would really, for the most part, really only be necessary to getting there. Looks over at Yaslin. Maybe while you're in the city. Depending on how well you can deal with the cold, but the warmth in the city is surprising. It's just something you have to experience.
Right. So just a little news flash. I've grown up in a tropical jungle my entire life. Just how cold are we talking? Oh, what the heck? I've just been jabbed by a kid. I'll be right back.
Oh no.
As she pulls like a giant spit wad off the side of her head and looks around the bar angrily.
Oh, there's a part of me that just wants you to experience it without warning.
I don't want to do that. Let's stop it. Let's just look for some clothing before we head out of town, and if we can't find it, then we'll see what we can find along the way.
I don't think along the way in an airship will be helpful.
If we got to stop at the port, this train station, certainly we can't be the only people that need some warmer clothes at that point. Somebody industrious has thought of this before.
Question, why did we not get these when we were in Ripple Bottom?
Well, I asked, I think the answer was they didn't have anything because they weren't prepared for that kind of environment,
Okay.
so they just didn't have those kinds of clothes.
They're trying to shop for a ski coat in the Bahamas. It's not going to happen. Like, they're not going to have it.
I mean, never mind.
We'll just take a look while we're here. Maybe on our way out of town in the morning, so that we limit the amount of time that we give ourselves to throw another kobold in a drink.
Or are bug friends around?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the two alien type
Yeah.
dudes?
Yeah.
You haven't seen them since yesterday.
I was hoping the ones who brought us here could point us in the direction of someone, perhaps, who builds clothes large enough for you guys. I think I can fit in the larger clothes of these people, but
You're calling me fat.
you call me short all the time.
He's not wrong. Stro's just gonna look
Well.
at the group. Who comes off as the... How do I word this?
Yeah. how
If
do
it's
you-
the nicest, it's probably you.
Sociable
definitely
to
not.
these people. Rose looking at
I
Margot.
seem to have a crass personality and they're about my height, so I think perhaps me.
Oh,
I mean, it would be worth a shot in the morning as we leave. Somebody's got to be in here to see. He can find a local that can point us to the direction.
Of what, clothing?
Yeah.
Why don't we ask now? I'm gonna turn around and scan the bar for the...
friendliest looking person.
Who's our like server?
The most interested looking person. I'm not saying friendliest necessarily, but somebody who has like, looks like they have a interest in the group.
Nosy. Got it.
Nosy. I'm looking for someone who's nosy.
Alright, give me perception.
Fuck, I'm so bad at this.
Can I assist if I see her looking around?
Can
Yeah.
it be the person that's
What,
just above the
guidance?
player's name that's
You still
making
have
that
that,
like
okay.
squinty?
I mean, I
weird
can
face?
give you guidance, or you can do the advantage with help.
Oh, I'll do the advantage.
Or
I'll do the advantage.
okay.
Hey, 14's not bad.
Okay. Are you talking about this person, Troy?
Yeah, in the chat there. Doesn't that person look like they've been looking at us?
Okay. Let's see. With a 14. You know what? Sure. There's 3 like dwarves sitting around a table that has almost like a hot pot style fire in it, and like there's a little bit of a grate over it, and they just keep like searing like barbecue over the top of it. And one's got kind of a blue hood, one's got kind of a red tunic, the other one has this long green hat, almost like a sock. And although the other 2 are bearded dwarves, this one looks like very just patchy stubble instead. And sees you look at them and just quickly like,
I'm gonna look around and see if there's like a trend to the armor. I'm guessing a lot of like dark blacks and leathers and dark brown armor.
not a ton of armor. Not no armor, just not a ton. It's more like spocks and aprons and like this like, you know, industrial blue collar type, you know, things that people are wearing.
I'm gonna turn my back to the character, do the command word, and you see the like Visislav crest disappear and the fancy shiny armor that I was wearing shift to something a lot more neutral and toned. Right, well, let's see if we have a shopping location. And I'm just gonna turn to just start. I'm gonna turn to the bartender first. Can I get 4 of your best liquors? 4 drinks of your best liquor.
You're taking the fun out of it, lady. And there's like a small like wingless like fey creature kind of standing on like, she's got like several stools stood up behind the counter. She runs over and like, come on. If you would have said just liquors, I would have pointed you at those assholes over there. And you look over and there's like 4 like really grisly looking like gnomes, and like she kind of makes a gesture and a lot of them go.
What is wrong with this place? Just the drinks. Actually, unless you would be so kind as to point us in the direction of if there is such a place that can clothe the likes of us for harsher winters. I can still pay for the drinks. I
Oh,
would buy the
hey.
whole bottle, in fact.
A whole bottle of our finest liquor?
Mm-hmm.
I think just because you're taller and you've got money that you're better than us.
I'm not that much taller. But the rest is true.
Alright, I'll see what I can do. She gets down and goes behind the counter for a second. Yes. Margot, what's your passive perception?
Shit. I think it's only like a 12 or something. It's not that great. Where is it on here? Where is it? I don't know where to find it on here.
Yeah, you might have to check D&D Beyond for that.
Let me pull that up.
It
It's
would
not
be-
great. I know that.
It's your perception modifier plus 10.
It's 12.
12? Okay. You hear something kind of scratchy. Then she comes back. She's holding the bottle, and it's like the bottle is big for her, so she's holding it up. Seven gold.
I'll slide her 10.
Thanks. She pushes it to you. Then as she like pushes it to you and like moves her hand, something kind of there's one color in the bottle that is not like the rest. A little milky white. She walks away and starts serving other customers. And there's also like a note under the bottle with the name scribbled.
Okay. I'll take the note and read it while I uncork the bottle.
And the bottle is not like it is not a new seal.
Mm.
Mostly full though.
What does the note say?
It says J-Dobs clothing.
We have a location at the very least. I don't know if this will work. But I think... I don't know if this is how this works, but I want to try and test the liquor because I am proficient with poisons and poisoner's kit, and I want to see if there's anything I like suspicious about this liquor.
Okay, are you doing it at the bar?
No. I'd probably turn to the group and say, well, we have a location. We can go upstairs and drink until Dolphin comes back, or you guys can hang out down here. I think I need a nap anyways.
Rush stands up, starts going up, tired of being around the.
Honestly, I feel like going back up is better than getting stared at this entire time, so.
Up and down, up and down.
As soon as we're in the room, I'm
Diary.
gonna do that test.
Sounds good.
How
It's
how drunk is Dyer?
you don't know.
Asking the real questions.
Yeah.
I think if he starts saying that, Darrell's just gonna assume he's not paying attention. He's just gonna casually put his foot in front of Dyer.
Are you trying to be sneaky about it?
We'll play it off, yeah. Basically just sneaky to him, no one else.
Okay. Star comes over, sees it, and kind of like comes up and plants his foot and like lunges over. It's like, oh, and like slaps you upside the head and walks straight.
He was playing with me.
Remember, you're dealing with an actor.
Hmm.
And you're dealing with a group that could kill you. He just walks up to the room. He'll turn and kind of smile at Dyer.
Good. You guys get up top. You guys get up top, and Margot, you start to test the liquor. It is a high-proof liquor. It does have a nice scent to it, and and as soon as you start messing around with it and stuff, that white substance would be a loogie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty easy to discern that with the kit.
I'm gonna recork it, hand it over to the Dyer. It's clean, and I think I am still hungover from last night, so please enjoy.
He hands it to Yaslin.
Gives it a sniff.
It smells spicy and slightly like motor oil and black pepper.
Oh, God.
Right. So
And now she hands it over to somebody else.
No one wants to drink it.
I'm gonna take a swig.
she hands it over to the next person. There's nobody there.
He sets it on the ground.
Right. So a little bit of shopping. Anything else?
No, that I can think of. Do we want to go now shopping or in the morning?
Might as well now. If they do have to custom make something for us, we don't want it to be a. I'd rather have it be a rush job for tomorrow than a rush job in an hour from now.
That's a good point.
Fair.
So what's the name of this place again?
Jibbles, clothing?
Let's head that way.
Let me leave a note for Dolphin just in case he returns. I'm gonna go to my journal and flip to the page where I had written to my organization, water or fire, basically asking that question all those weeks ago, and see if there was a response.
There is. Get us both.
And we go to a blank page, right, we're at Jabob's clothing, pull out the sheet and put it on the bed. Shall we?
Margot, there's a... After reading the note, you hear like an old recitation in your head. Not like a public one, but one that's kind of only used in higher ups and certain people. The Empire does not choose compromise. We take it all. The entirety of Eon. That is the only way to bring peace. Just old repeated words. Kind of give you shivers.
Whenever you're ready.
Do we even know?
What is that sci-fi looking contraption in your background, Kiki?
What?
Looks like
This?
it's tilted.
My microphone?
Oh, I thought that was like with everything in the
This?
background.
Like,
Yep.
Sci-fi contraption.
There we go.
it's forced perspective, it looked a lot larger.
No, it looked a lot smaller. Like it looked like it was some like. It looked like it was this big, like in the back of your room.
It's just a microphone.
Got it. That makes way more sense. This is why we ask these things, so we can learn. Okay.
What were you gonna ask, Clinton?
Oh, do we even know where to go? We got a name, but do we know where it is?
Let's just get outside and ask somebody which direction. I'm sure somebody can point us in the direction.
Just throw its hand on Margot's shoulder. Lead the way.
Oh. Okay. Follow me?
Don't sound super confident there, Margot.
And the long and short of it is you find the places that you're trying to go. Every step along the way is a pain in the ass. Like, you get resistance after resistance, sneers, jibing remarks, just jeers and snide remarks. That's what I was trying to say. And like you eventually do get there. Like what should have been like a 10-minute walk is instead like 45 minutes of like unnecessarily haggling. People who are looking down their nose up towards you. And you come across this place which essentially has like almost like a ship sail, but it's all on it is stitched with lots and lots and lots of different types of clothes. And down the center of it in two lines it says Jadob's clothing.
I guess we found it.
Let's see what they got.
I will
Go on
lead
in.
the way in. Yeah.
You open the door and you're immediately accosted with the smell of like mothballs and like soot. And it's a pretty like dusty place. Not that like anything in this town seems very clean. Just dusty is not usually the descriptor. And you go in, and there's essentially almost no lights in here. And everything is like hanging up on this like crisscross of metal, and you do see lots of, like, it's probably like 6 or 7 rows of clothing going back 30 or 40 feet. And there's only like patches of light like coming in through like broken spots in the skylight.
Dancing lights.
Dancing lights. Okay, it illuminates, and like it just, you get more color and pop from all of the clothes, and you also hear you hear like the sound of a like rollers, and like somebody like gets out from behind the front desk and like has like a solid goose egg on their head. This person has like massive glasses that like go from like the top of their eye socket like down past their cheekbone, and their eyebrows are so thick and black that they go to the side of their head, but they're bald, except it's like this unfortunate chin strap where their eyebrows like become their beard. Ah, welcome to Judubs. What can I get you?
Winter clothing for those large like us.
You seem like kind of shake his head.
Can you do big and tall?
Sure. And like just kind of looks around and then like lands on a spot that's not quite anybody's face. It's like basically looking at Seamus's elbow area. Now, are we talking?
Can we tell if this is like a dwarf, a gnome, or what?
This is a halfling.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Mm-hmm. Winter clothing for tallies. Alright, why not? Just the butt of another joke. Sure, let's make this happen. That'll cost you and yada blah blah blah. Alright, come here. And he goes around the counter and like doesn't even look at who he's grabbing. It just like grabs one of you by the arm and like drags you into like the forest of clothes in the back.
Yaslin, please don't punch this guy.
Somebody restrain me.
It's like, it's dire. It's like,
Yes.
I guess I'm first. And this guy, it's clear that this dude can, by the time he measures all of you and you all get like pricked with like needles a couple of times, like he doesn't ever it's very clear to you that he is basically blind. Just and he gets you all guys all like situated and like, but he's also not rude. He's kind of short and he's kind of curt, but it's more like just a guy who's like into his work, just making like, move your arm over here, put it down. Now the other arm. Who are you? No. Okay. Mental notes. But as he moves, he does move like quite quickly, and it's like somebody using like padding tactics to kind of get the shape of your body and then like do all of your measurements. And then at the end, kind of says like, "What kind of time frame are you looking for here?"
We leave tomorrow morning.
So you give me a day to make 5 large winter outfits.
You will be compensated for the rush.
I better be. Right. That'll be half now, half later. We're gonna start. All right, fine. 12 now, 12 tomorrow.
Too easy.
Got it. Thank you. Out. Like whoever is like the closest to the end, like starts pushing them, and you guys like bump into a wall. You got like, oh, apologies. And then like gets you out the right side of the door.
Alright, we are clothed and we have a ship.
It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it might be, despite being looked over by a mole person.
And as you say that, there's a couple of like people that are within earshot. Oh, I never.
No offense to the mole people.
Perhaps we should get back to the inn before we cause problems.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of have free reign for the rest of the day. Anything in particular that you would want to do? Anything to practice?
On the way back, can Dro do a perception to see if he happens to see dolphin or some type of animal or anything gives off dolphin?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead and roll perception.
Can I also do a
giant-
perception to see if we're being followed?
Giant eagles in the area.
Right.
God, I'm back with my rolls.
2 12s.
Margot, you're like danger senses are basically like on overdrive right now. Like everybody is giving you like vibes if they want to like follow you and like mug you in a back alley. And so therefore nobody is giving you vibes. So you're like, I don't freaking know. Could be any of them. Dro, no, you don't see anything dolphin related.
How? What time of day is it when we make it back?
Probably about mid-afternoon. Also, anybody that wants to, feel free to... Well, actually, I love this sort of stuff, so I'm going to go through. The Jadab does ask for, like, recommendations about, like, what you are looking for in your clothing. So I'm gonna put somebody on the spot. That says it's Margot. Margot, you're first. What does your winter clothing? What did you request as the winter clothing? And then this is followed up by feel free to mid-journey your character into something that is wearing wintry clothes.
I imagine like I don't know if you ever seen like the I don't know what they call them, keftas in like Shadow and Bone, the like nicer over jackets that go to the ground that are embroidered, some with like the frilly fur that kind of lines the edges of the wrists and the neck, something like that. Just a pretty thick overcoat that goes to the ground, and then some thick gloves and a thick kind of Russian style cap, you know?
Yeah, like very fuzzy. Like
Yeah, the
almost cylindrical.
round. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In like
Which is funny because I was just
lavenders.
I was just thinking about this, and I'm like, interesting that your portion of the empire is modeled after Russia, but you are a like closer to like a summer continent than a winter continent.
Hmm.
So it's
Which is why I just said they were like in the mountains.
yeah, it's like, yeah, kind of interesting to imagine like Russian culture in a not cold, harsh environment.
I grew up in the mountains of Southern California, the cold environment of Southern California. It exists.
Sure.
But yeah, something kind of like a kefta, I think is what it's called. I'll
Nice.
post a photo of it too, but it looks pretty and warm.
Okay. All right. Duro, how about you?
A lot of it'd still be the more kind of mobility where he can move quick. But one thing is this shirt would go all the way down to the knees and it would be more padded, so more insulated. Kind of similar to the fur on the gloves. He would actually cover his hands. Tall boots, probably up to like the shin, like your typical leather snow boots. The big thing is his cloak would be slightly oversized when he puts it on his head, and attached would be what would look like a scarf that he could pull up above his nose. So at some point he would be able to hide the whole lower half of his face, but the lining of the cloak is also in fur. And if possible, he would get it to look like the Aurora lights.
Like magically you want it to kind of shimmer, or
No, just I don't think there would be any cloth. It'd be mixed match. Instead of his typical where you would have like his purple and blue, he would switch it up to reflect more of what the colors of Aurora, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And then
Okay.
his belt, probably instead of like the rope looking thing, he would actually get like a normal leather belt.
Gotcha. Yaslin, how about you?
Like, I've never ordered winter clothes in my life. like,
Margot would help with her fashion choices.
yeah,
I give you
Margot would help. 'Cause it
help
was
with
like-
that.
She's just like, I don't know, something that would keep me warm. But preferably as little clothes as possible. And Margot's probably like, no, that's not gonna work.
That's not how it works. No.
Alright. It's overall, she has more like layers than like thick things. She's like an undershirt, and then kind of like an over tunic, and then perhaps like more of like a fur coat almost, and then her pants are still pretty much the same. They're probably just like padded on the inside with fur or something. And she's got like some nice fur boots.
Nice. Okay. And Seamus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on this one a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I guess
Don't want to change any of it. We can, return to this next week, but that's your homework is to.
no, I have some ideas. So yeah, no, I definitely have some ideas, and I'm cool modifying it because I definitely would want Seamus to be wearing warmer clothing. I have my cape, and so I need to like work around that. But I imagine probably some kind of like animal fur, possibly a wolf, like wrap around the neck area that would like kind of wrap around my already tall collars, or something that would kind of sit over the top. I'm thinking like Kit Harington, like Game of Thrones, like kind of, yeah, fur over the shoulders kind of thing, and then probably something that can then fill as a full liner inside of the cape without altering the cape either, because I'm not going to leave it there for them to work on. So the whole thing kind of has to work around that already. So that would be kind of what I would focus on, is like some kind of animal cover. But I also had a question about like, what do people in Aurora's Rest wear? Because I don't want to like show up looking like in a Nuit or something, and everybody's like just like in the club dancing, wearing clubbing gear or whatever, because it's like a party town, and we're like, we look like we're like showing up for a costume contest or something.
Sure. Clothing. Oh,
Depends on where you are.
what's that?
Depends on where you are.
Yeah. So, general people, Q, do you have any thoughts on this? Otherwise, I'll
Yeah.
generate something in my mind.
Dro's attire that you first saw him with was normal. Not everybody wore it, but it's attire that you would think, okay, it's a polar place. How are they not cold? There's, for the most part, Morgan, you can add on to this. The clothing they wear, they're easy to tell what they are profession-wise. They may have a few more layers, obviously, because they are in the cold, but not as much as you think there would be in this freezing city. If that makes sense. So it's kind of free. It's like a melting pot, kind of.
Yeah, and you do get a smattering of different cultures there. It's a little bit like if you imagine Las Vegas. You have people from all over the world going there because it's fun. So you do get a lot of different styles. So, culturally, and as Dro explained it, it's not really like a lot of faux pas that you could do, because just about everybody and everything is represented. Oh, this is interesting. I accidentally made a female Mad Hatter of Dyer instead.
No.
Not quite, right?
Nope. But it basically, the idea is typically like warm things that can easily be taken off in like once you're inside and you're enjoying yourself, and nobody likes to feel constricted and restrained. Does that help at all, or
It's really hard to describe.
It is. I'd say overall, flowy clothes tend to be the norm. Especially things that, like, if you have multiple layers, then like that uncomfortable feeling of like you went outside for a moment and the air inside of your clothing is cold. That's one of the things that people detest the most, and they got around that by having like long layers of fabric draping over each other. So it's like the outer layers of fabric basically insulate the air inside, and you don't ever really get that. So it's like you take your outer layer off, and kind of like the coldest air goes with it, and it doesn't really get in and like touch on your skin.
I'd also say you could definitely tell who's from there and who isn't based off what they wear.
The people who are from there tend to have less clothes. They've got thick blood, and they move easier in the ice and the snow and the sleet and everything. And it's like they're generally less concerned about the cold than everybody else. So their clothing is more basic than out of tanners. Let's see. Okay, so you guys basically have the rest of the day. Anything specifically that you want to be doing once you get back to the hotel?
Joe's just gonna hop up in the window he was in the night before and just gonna look out the town.
Okay. And as far as Dyer's outfit goes, it's less of like it's a lot of kind of the same of what he normally wears, except like he gets his jacket is like extra padded on the inside and goes down to like the full length of his clawed hands. And also instead of like kind of an ascot looking thing, it's like a multi-layered scarf instead. Okay.
Could be a place in town to pick up some healing potions.
Possibly you could go inquire about an apothecary or something.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially since our Doff dog doesn't seem to be showing up again.
Mm-hmm. Right. Give me an investigation check as you kind of roam around.
I'm pretty good at investigating. 19.
19, okay. Um, 19. Oh, it takes you only about 20 minutes to get to where you're going. And this is one of the better kept places in town. You enter in and there's not a lot of dust, there's not a lot of like clutter or anything. The decor seems to be pretty well in order. And you enter in and you immediately like see like jeers staring at you as there is both a closet and an imp standing behind the counter in like little business suits.
Oh, pleasure to see you here today. Inquiring about some potions. Is this a place for that?
This is where they exist, yes. Why?
And are you in business to sell to anyone?
Not entirely. You're one of those new Tollies that waltzed into town. Wait.
Don't know about these Tullies or such, but are just passing through travelers headed north.
So you're about to leave?
That depends if I can get the potions or not. If not, I'll have to stick around town for much longer.
Right, so we've got some. What are you looking for?
Just some healing potions. Basic kind or greater. Maybe tell me what you got and how much they're going for these days.
I've got 3 basic and 2 greater. 60 for the basics for you. And, the quasi. So it's been the it's been the imp talking the whole time, not the closet. Oh jeez, I forgot how much a greater healing potion is.
Probably like 65. Obviously more than the basic.
Mm-hmm. This is. That one's about. That one's 120. Ow. From the little one in the suit. The green one in the suit, I should say.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'll to you too, sir. Good person. That's a pretty stiff price for a potion, to be honest with you.
It's a stiff dealing with a Tully. We know you.
You know all of us, do you?
We know your type. Always trying to. Always trying to squish someone over underneath your large heel.
I'm just trying to walk through the garden without stepping on the grass.
Tough. Tough ask, unless you know how to float.
I imagine you got a potion for that too, but I think just the healing for now. I think I'm just gonna have to stick to a basic to keep it in my budget.
Understood. That'll be 60. And he goes and retrieves one and puts it back up, like up on top of like this little stand. Sheamus, give me an insight check.
Not as good as those 9.
9. Okay, unlike the others in this town, like this guy seems to have a more somewhat calculated disdain for you rather than just like ubiquitous. It's like while everybody else seems like flippant and like unreasonable, this guy seems a little bit more logical, and so there's something there, but he's not giving you any indication of what it is. He just feels a little bit different than the others.
I think I'm just gonna take that potion and go. It really is more than I want to spend, and I considered resolving that, or attempting to resolve that through sorcerer's means, but I'm just gonna take my overpriced healing potion and call that good.
Yep, sounds fair. Okay. So Joe's just chilling. Yaslin's probably just chilling up there with him. She had to bounce. Margot, last kind of bit for you.
We have private rooms in the suite, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
the kind of 4 corners are private rooms, and then there's hostel style cots in between.
I think she'd close herself in one of the private rooms. And then just do a check-in with her heart.
With her what?
Heart. Because last time you
Oh,
said
heart,
she could
gotcha.
feel like a stuttered heartbeat.
It's not necessarily a stuttered heartbeat.
Was it like
But go ahead and go for, give me a constitution check. As you're kind of examining your body.
Oh my god.
Oh. It wanted that 19 so bad.
Good.
So as you sit there and kind of close your eyes, focus in, maybe like lay your hand on your chest, you hear the heartbeat similar to the way you did last time. Thump thump. Thump thump. Thump thump. Thump. You hear and feel kind of like a cracky sound on that third thrum. So you kind of pay attention to it, obviously, kind of freaked out and panicked for a moment, and it begins to fade a little bit. Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump, thump thump, thump. And it returns to that third bit. It feels like not like a stutter, but more like a third motion of your heart. Usually it's kum, goof, kum, goof. Now it's starting to feel like kum, kum, goof. Like a double out with one contraction.
Huh. Okay. I'm just gonna go back out and hang out.
Okay. And the night concludes with Leo and Corin preparing to. And they've also been out all day, like talking to merchants and stuff, trying to get themselves some gear to, essentially some scuba gear to go and seek out the hole before it's filled. Their plan is also to leave pretty early in the morning. That sort of request turns out underwater diving is very common here, especially with the water nearby, so far nearby, and they describe that there's a lot of mineral seeking and harvesting from like the underwater beach nearby, and so they just had to find somebody that could make some large enough for them, and that'll take actually I'll say that'll take 2 or 3 days, so they'll be gone after you guys, because that's a little more complicated to make than just clothing. But they seem to have found some success, but they have also been feeling price gouged.
Happens in this town.
And besides that, wanted to call you guys friendship friends. The soldiers kind of just hang out, chit chat, relax, and get to bed in the morning, and fades into existence as the sun comes up and the overhead cloud of smoke and stuff is kind of reflected back onto you from like the never-ending forges and blacksmith shops and tinkering that goes on. And you can hear down below, the bar seems to have about the same din and loudness as it has every other time of day. And like just observing from out the window over the course of the night and whatever, you guys can see that the town kind of operates in shifts. Like town-wide, it's like the day is broken up into about 4 different shifts, and people are coming and going off shift, on shift, about every 5 to 6 to 7 hours. So everything pretty much stays active the whole time. Okay. And let's go ahead and take our break there. We will come back in a bit to discover what is going on with your new ship captain
Excellent.
and what that looks like.
Sounds good.
Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay. So you guys all kind of set up and depart. Any farewells that you want to give to Corian or to Leo before you guys head out? And there's still no sign of Dauphin. Any goodbyes you want to make to the rest of the to other members of the soldiers?
I would definitely, send them off well. I definitely think of Leo as somebody who, also enjoyed kind of this business angle. And so Seamus will, definitely be bummed about that also. It was good seeing Corn again. Definitely send the best to anybody else that he might run into if he runs into any of the others again. I think I'd pat, I wouldn't pat him on the head. I wouldn't want to get my hand like in the water bowl thing, but like I would, I'd want to send off the little ones well too, I guess. Maybe throw them a fish or something. I've got some raw fish in my backpack I carry around, so I'd throw them a little bit.
Is that like this group's version of pocket bacon?
Oh god.
Like pocket fish? That'd be fun. Yeah.
We smell horrible.
Yeah, Kenji is like a little reluctant and not as chipper as he usually is. He looks a little sad and missing a word here. He's
Somber.
a little more down. Somber, thank you. Yes, that's the word. Yeah, and he kind of takes a minute to say his goodbyes and stuff. You can see that he's upset. And, Marcus is just light and flittery and just still kind of just being very sweet and excited as he usually is. And then you guys depart, make your way to the location where this mystery person told Margot to go. You guys exit the city, kind of getting off and like going northwise. You have to travel for a little while. It's probably about like a 30-minute walk or so until you reach this location that she mentioned, a large peak kind of off the coast of the beach and the ocean. And it raises up and you can see very clearly over the top of ripple, and you see into the smoke and the gloom, and you definitely see into the bowl in which they kind of carved a formerly high place downwards to sea level. And this is still very high up top, and you see there's like scattered grasses and sandy patches, very rocky, and eventually you kind of crest the tallest bit of the hill. You see, sitting literally on a cliff edge with her feet dangling off, is a very bright pink-haired gnome. She's got kind of this headband of spiky-looking baubles on her head. And she, like, but other than that, it's just kind of like dark, like, workers' clothes, moving around all over the place, or that, like, looks like she is comfortable in moving, and she is just kind of staring out at the sea in front of you. It is quite vast. And she doesn't even really seem to pay attention when you guys come up. It's like she's just... She very much so has the effect of daydreaming when she's looking up.
Can you spell out her name for us again? I think it's Tieman.
Tierman. Tierman.
Margot will move a little ahead of the group and just call out to her. Tierman, I brought the group. We are ready to see what you've got.
Here, my lady. This is... Didn't you say you had more people than this?
Plans change.
That they do. Every good blueprint always is different by the time you make it. So, I guess it's time. She kind of gets up and looks at you.
Lead the way.
Look. She comes over and stares at the lot of you. She says, "Have you ever had a moment to pour everything you've got into something? And then you have enough time to think about what that means before you vomit out of nervousness because you're about to show it to people who you have no idea who they are for the first time?"
No.
Ah, well, I do. That was my morning. So,
Pleasure to meet you too. You haven't seen a dog around, have you?
7. Since this morning. Why?
What kind of dog was he again? It's like a shaggy wolfhound kind of thing, wasn't he?
He would not be that kind of creature now. I don't think
Oh,
that
that's
lasts
true.
this long.
That's true.
Right. Well, besides a random question about dogs, I'm gonna go ahead and change the subject with, who are you?
Seamus Black, I don't know if my patriot here had a chance to introduce or tell you who some of his or her cohorts would be. But yeah, I'm Seamus Black.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, Seamus. And I'll do this once rather than doing it multiple times with all of you, because that'd be just awkward. I'm Tierman. Hi.
Sounds like you've been working on quite a masterpiece here, potentially. A new craft, as it were.
More like a masterpiece of different crafts. So what are the rest of your names? Also, I forgot yours.
Margot,
It's Margot.
Vorat,
Of the Empire. You're my...
Shit, I lost you guys on audio. God damn it.
Oh no. Abort! There we go. How we doing?
I hear you now.
Sweet. She's like, you are my ticket out of here. And oddly enough, I'm also your ticket out of here. Physically.
That is correct. Can I say last night I actually forgot that I needed to write her a letter of recommendation? Can I say that I did that last night because I would have remembered in character?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I will hand her the letter of reference with a map to the Visislav tribe and the Visislav seal on the top.
You don't get around, do you, lady?
Get around?
Get around.
Get around.
Get around.
I
I don't know,
am
your
not
sex life
known
is
for
no
my
business
jokes.
of me. And then the rest of you, flowy man. If you don't tell me your name, I'm just gonna keep calling you flowy man.
You can call
Probably
him
really weird for all
champion.
of
He
us.
loves that.
Dro.
Ah, champion. That's
No, just
sounds
Dro.
heroic.
Just Dro.
Justro.
Yes.
All right, nice to meet you, Justro. And you, with a very large sweeping of his hands. I am Dire Gaines, and I pronounced that and enunciated it properly, so you wouldn't get any strange verbs in your head, versions of it in your head. It's like, all right, Dire. Makes sense to me. Okay.
This is Yaslin, the one that's currently eating what looks like a ham.
That does appear to be a ham. Okay, and she kind of just stops and like puts her hands on her knees. Okay, I can do this.
You're gonna be alright there.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna vomit again at some point.
Have you... This is beautiful work. Do you know how to drive this?
Mostly.
Looks at Margot.
I'll show it. I'll show it to you in a minute. But yeah. I'm gonna admit that right up front that I am not the greatest pilot. I'm much better at building it instead of flying it. So we're gonna have to figure that part out. I warned her that there were still bugs to figure out.
Oh,
This is
you
one of
warned
them.
her.
Yeah, a little bit.
Margot, so you knew we wouldn't have a pilot, did you?
She said she was not a good pilot, not that she was not a pilot. Practice makes perfect, does it not?
Yep, there it is. And she like goes back over to the edge and just like lets it fall.
Her skills with invention are what we are most interested in. That is where the lucrative exchange is. We will be fine. Don't you worry.
Insight check if she believes what she just said.
Yeah, go
What
ahead.
are
And
you
roll insight.
trying to see?
If you believe what you just said.
I think Margot's trying to put on a good front for the team. But so I don't know. Margot's like feeling and like portraying confidence, and you have no idea how much that is valid or not.
Well, wouldn't be the first dumb choice we made.
Me either. And with that, let's go. She starts walking over, and she comes to like this kind of crumbled looking thing. It looks like it may have been like a tower made out of rock at some point. It's just crumbled and crushed, and it's basically just rolls like, welcome to my home. I did not clean up at all. So take that for what it's worth. She slaps her hand on the rock, and the cliff top begins to open. And you see inside, and there is a large cavern beneath. You're looking at the top of some pretty big sized factories. It's probably 3 city blocks worth down here. And right next to where you guys are, as it finishes, it's like at the near end, the kind of cliff top kind of like chunks down in pieces into this kind of like layered roof section that, if it, as it like was closing, it kind of like accordioned on itself. And there's a catwalk going down this kind of slippery cliff. And
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I don't envision.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
same.
because I forgot to do the lighting thing. Up and up.
There we go.
Okay. And this place is pretty big. Like, okay, come on down. And if you tell anybody about this place, I will murder your entire family line's worth of kneecaps. They're right at my level. I can take them out so easy, you have no idea.
Don't worry. When you get where you're going, you'll have the funding to make something even more impressive than this place.
I better. She like holds up the envelope and like tucks it inside of her vest. She strides down. You guys begin to descend with her. And this kind of aperture that is the visible face of this picture right here. It takes several minutes for you guys to come down. This is where I built it.
Impressive.
Yeah. It's a good thing my people live a long time. So
It's real lower crust stuff.
Are we talking about a sandwich with like a crust of the bread, or I'm not sure. Do you guys know?
Must be a lyrical thing.
Right. Okay. Fine. So she comes down, and then as you guys get lower and lower and lower, she kind of pulls a remote out of her pocket. And she pushes a button. So, this place used to be my grandfather's. Wasn't an engineer. Not like me, at least. No machines, no mechanical bits. The man knew how to make a cloth. Best cloth on the planet. And this was his factory. But he pulled the plug. And, this is what I gained as inheritance.
Not bad.
So I figured I'd repurpose it and use it to build what I wanted. And as she's talking through this like cave entrance where it's pretty dark, you hear rumbling as something comes forward. What do you know of airships?
Besides the obvious,
Well, tell me the obvious thing.
kind of motions to the sky. They fly.
Sure. At least most of them do.
I think the ones that don't fly are just called ships.
Almost. And by most, I mean all but one. They know how to travel up there. Yeah, they fly. But not my girl. What she does is swims. And out of the cavern, you begin to see the ship is very clearly like curled up in on itself. It's got a long, angular bottom to it. And got plenty of filigree and decoration. And there seem to be ribbons kind of tied on the sides, hanging from the masts. What looks like collapsed fabric sitting on a pole. And she turns to you all and says, "Everybody, I'd like you to meet my baby." And she kind of gestures largely. "This is the Blushwing." And she motions out. And I forgot to put this image in. She motions out in this beautiful, well-crafted machine as it comes out of the cavern. Kind of opens up, and you see several different, like, floating, almost spectrally see-through wings kind of unfurl and show a bulbous, almost like a bulb shape, like a clove of garlic or onion, almost in approximate design. pulling up the token right now. Spent so much time actually making the token, I forgot to put it in.
She's beautiful.
She is. She's pink, which is the best part.
It's definitely different than what I imagined. It's a wonder.
I mean, all the things that the dumbos over in Wibble do, it's all like, ooh, I'm such a badass. I have hard metals and like nasty drab colors and like, ugh. Who wants to go on an adventure in like soot? That's not a good adventure. Pink is a good adventure color.
It's quite the craft.
Thank you. That's what I'd like to say.
And how exactly does she swim?
Those their wings, they're more like about 1 million little flippers instead. It looks solid enough, but it's actually a very fine mesh. Reaches out, grabs moisture, air pockets, heat, whatever it needs to, pushes against them, lets you fly.
Quite the craft
But-
indeed.
But truthfully, when you break it down, like anatomically, it's really close to swimming. She doesn't glide, she pushes off. Awesome.
Marvelous technology. Imagine what you could make. Such. See such potential in your work.
Thanks. So do I. She's adaptable. Most, they can't handle... They can only handle certain amounts of turbulence or different environments or whatever. But, this baby can pretty much do it all.
How close are we to it?
About 200 feet away, you're on a platform. Kind of like up here, and as it's rolling in, it's kind of like gently like hovering in between these two stations, kind of like it's like it would hug it, or like it's like basically hugging it in this like negative space all through here. Kind of like all through here. Okay.
Without taking his eyes off of it, how high can it go?
I've been able to find its limit yet. Not on height, at least. I mean, the technology isn't perfect yet. But, by the time I try to go up as high as I can, it's not the height, it's other things that get in the way.
What's up that high?
I don't know. Most of the clouds. Occasional city. Saw a rock eat a cloud once there. Uh-huh. It was weird.
And how quickly does she move? How long do you think it'll take to get to Aurora's rest?
2 days. If we push it, which I don't recommend, do it in about 1.5. I told her that this was not fully complete yet. It's mostly there. We're talking like 98, 96.84% complete.
Is the last part the brakes?
No. I put those in first. The last parts are more like self-defense. I think that's a thing. And a little bit of stability.
Oh, was that last part?
Huh? What?
Stability. Self-defense we can work with, but
That's
stability?
what I said. Stability.
Well, how big of an issue is this?
Should be fine. Unless something like starts attacking us or like, lands on the ship, makes it its weight like really shift back and forth, like stuff that'll never happen. But I shouldn't have said it like that. Look, I told you it was a prototype.
No, I understand that. As I said, self-defense I think we can help with. The stability, we can do our best to avoid that becoming an issue.
I have an idea on how to do the stability part. I just haven't actually done that part yet. There's part of what's led me down is a few resources that would be really nice to have to like help finish it up.
Which are?
So you see those holes in the wings?
Mm-hmm.
It's not supposed to be like that. They kind of got damaged a little while ago. And the material's not necessarily easy to come by.
Okay.
I mean, at some point it could be like mass manufactured synthetically, I'm sure. But today the natural process is a little sticky. It's basically made up of a silk griffin fuzz. And yeah, so that's one of them. And a couple of like high density minerals and like a couple magic cores. That's about the last that I would need to make it really like nail that stability part.
And you know where to find this stuff?
Well, for the first one, do you remember when you asked me what's up there?
I see.
That was one of them. Silk griffins never touch the ground. They're actually light enough that when they need to rest, they just settle in on a cloud.
Well, perhaps we can harvest that up there. What about the other one? components.
Not too far away from here, there's a cave, or if you can manage to get a bit from Wibble, they have some, but it's pretty locked away hard by a certain couple of cousins on that the density, the high density mineral stuff. It's part of what makes this place a little bit special for making ships. And the magic cores underwater, or the closest one that I know of.
And our dog has not returned.
Is he like a really good dog paddler or something? I mean, she'll fly.
Bill, can we get any of this stuff in Aurora's rest? Do you know?
DM, can we get any of these forest rats?
Give me a history check at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Nope.
As far as you know, Tierman is making ingredients up on the spot.
Yeah.
Do we need these things before we leave town?
No, not necessarily. I mean, they could be acquired like along the way and stuff. It just increases the risk of something going wrong, or if we are attacked, of that going worse.
And we plummet.
So we need to try to get a hold of these. Wasn't Corin trying to get a hold of some underwater breathing apparatus?
Oh, if that's the problem of breathing underwater, that's handled.
Oh, that's right, we've got the champ. You should be able to get those cores lickety-split on it.
Hey, Dro, do you still have that thing that you took from the melted metal face from Ripple Top?
This thing, I took a lot of things. I have the flux charger and a metal mask. Hey! Yeah. Dro just staring at Seamus after he says champ, and then realizing, pulling that out of his bag. Would this help?
That's your shoe.
Purposely pull out one of the bags of blood Seamus has and let it drop.
Oh my gosh, why would you do such a thing? Oh,
Why
that
would
makes
you
me
have
so
such
hungry.
a thing?
I'm so hungry now.
Okay, well, let me take a look at this. And she grabs it and she's like, bring it over here. She kind of like walks you guys over to like a desk that has some like little mechanical arms and stuff. And she goes over and begins to like kind of poke around with it. And she like takes one of the spikes out of her hair. And as she does, it like comes closer and like kind of changes into like a specialized tool that like kind of lets her like get several screws out kind of almost all at the same time of this thing, and then she could like flicks it and it goes kind of back into a spike, and she like reinserts that one in her little hair piece that like sticks out like that, and probably takes her like a good 10 minutes. What did you say you got this thing?
The bottom of a lake.
Well, that's got a strange parallel. Okay.
You know,
What is it?
it was a really long story.
Okay. Um. Sure. So whatever this thing is actually like kind of like a power generator core, which is a little bit different than what I was originally imagining. I was thinking of getting something that was like more like a water magic core, and then that would help like repel like little certain amounts of moisture in the air. But I could probably reuse this to help repel little bits of like electricity and like static in the air. I mean, it's just basically just as prevalent in the air as water is. So it's a little different, but I think I can make this work.
I'm totally gonna act like I understood half of what you said.
Drop your eyebrows. It helps when they're like perfectly up. It's like, nope, I got no idea what's going
He
on.
just walks away because his head hurts. All he heard was, "It will work." Got it. Walked away.
Okay then. So, well, that's 1/3 of our list done then. That helps a little bit with the that helps with the stability. Like if there's ever like an additional weight on the ship, it won't immediately like try to buck to one side. It'll help to like, recalibrate with the new weight and stay approximately aloft. This is going to help to kind of give it a little bit more oomph in that portion of the boat so it doesn't tip and go keel and head over heels. But I mean, that's if a friggin' mountain drops on us, there's only so much I can do. But, for anything reasonably terrible, we should be good. I mean, after I installed it all.
The tears in the wings, they're all over like 1 foot in diameter, right? Or 1 foot squared.
Yeah. And do you say that out loud by chance?
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, they're
Above
pretty
the
big.
table.
We're looking at tears like 10 feet, 12 feet, 2 feet.
So mending won't work.
We can get the Silk Griffin material. What was it again?
Call it fuzz.
Fuzz.
The Griffin fuzz
well-
just rolls off the tongue.
Oh yeah, just indeed. So we can get some of that along the way. So what was the third component then that we're looking for?
High density mineral alloy that is proprietary material in the shipyards back in Ribble. That one just for reinforcing some of the skeletal structure of the ship. So just be able to like take a blow a little bit easier, which I hope nobody ever hurts my finger.
Well, I guess we'll have to go look into procuring some of that.
And I mean, if we can find something else that's like, I'd be willing to try something else if we thought we had a good idea somewhere. But that's where I know where to get it. We're not the only shipbuilders in the world.
Is it a metal?
Yeah. It's a high density complex mineral alloy that's been like just properly fabricated in order to, make the different strengths and weaknesses of the metals, ignore all the strengths and maximize all the weak. Sorry, I said that backwards. Ignore all the strengths and maximize the weak. I did it again.
It's just really strong metal.
That.
And I assume lightweight for the ship.
First, like I said, getting rid of the weaknesses, which is exactly what I said the first time.
How much?
More than you want to mentally consider.
It's just Dro's like looking in his bag and stuff. So this metal mask and armor probably won't work.
No, you're gonna need like 30,000 shoes if that's all you got in there.
Oh my god.
But hey, I mean, she's pretty sturdy right now. She could be a little bit. Normally, women don't like this, but she could be a little bit more dense. Okay.
Perhaps there's some sort of refinery for metals in or along the way to Aurora's Rest. That will be easier to acquire than a town that quite literally hates us for our height.
Oh yeah. I think that's like old story stuff. Doesn't I mean just, as long as you guys give me a shot, that's all they care about. I don't care if you're. I hope this isn't like some elaborate trap to like lead us out of our hovels so you can gobble this all up.
No.
I understand that's a common fear in these parts, but no, that's certainly not what we'll be doing. So are we headed out then? Do we need anything else other than to find our dog?
How
I
long
mean,
do
it was
we
a
wait?
nice dog. Well, I mean, it's going to take me probably 3 or 4 hours to install this new, like, lightning core, and she kind of touches it in her hair, which is already, like, rather sticking up. And she, like, puts her hand to it, like, volcano hair, and then she kind of takes it off and, like, grabs one of her spikes and, like, flicks it out and it's a comb. She just, like, starts pulling it back a little bit more. Back into something reasonable and like flicks it and it becomes a spike that she reinserts on her little tinkerer's tiara.
Yes, we have time to search for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this one of you guys wants to help.
Will this be of a help?
What would be helpful in this?
Well, quite frankly, if somebody like holds this when I'm trying to connect my materials to it, that'd be great. If something goes wrong and you get shocked instead of me, it'll take a lot less time.
Do you need somebody like really strong that could, you know, be tough enough to hold that kind of weight and handle something like that?
Yeah, sure, as long as they're not gonna break stuff.
Or someone really quick, perhaps? Or someone who is good with their hands? What is it you're looking for?
Cheryl's just been staring at the ship. I'll stay.
We have a volunteer.
Plus, I have guidance.
All right. All right, you're with me, Flow Boy. She grab the thing. And she starts walking down another set of stairwell that like goes out to the ship. There's like this little platform that kind of goes out.
As she works, he's just casting guidance to help.
Sounds good.
But yeah,
Dro, as you approach the ship, give me a perception check.
well,
12? No, that guidance helped you out a lot.
oh, I didn't add it to myself.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, that's fair.
I was just.
Oh,
I'll do it.
You can add guidance to this.
14.
Okay, 14. Sure. So as you're coming up, and like the picture that I've given, it shows everything like much more unfurled. Those little umbrellas, they're like collapsed and like they're just slinking down, and the wings are a little bit more like droopy and folded in on themselves. As you come up, you are a fairly kind of connective individual. There's a little bit of a thrum, almost like a very distant strumming of a harp string. And as you get closer, you get kind of this soft tone, kind of gently vibrating from the ship. And it's pleasant. Not like grating or abrasive or abrasive or anything. Guys, it's really been a long time. Like, all of my word vocab is the broke today.
I have those days.
Is the group out of earshot of us?
Oh yeah, they basically like started going back up the catwalks,
So
unless they're doing something else.
as soon as I start to feel that, is that normal?
Oh yeah. I did not design her to do that.
I was gonna put his hand on it.
Okay. Come up and kind of touch it. Get like a fuzzy tingling in your fingers. Almost like if your fingers were on like a bass speaker that was playing very loudly. Kind of like this vibrating fuzz feeling. But it's staying still.
What is that?
If you make fun of me, I have 6 buttons I can press that will either drop you into the water or throw you against a cave wall.
Do you realize how much people have made fun of me?
Probably about the same as me.
Yeah.
I think it's her joy.
And just kind of turn, leave his hand, and just kind of look at the ship. Look back. So you ready to finish the work?
Oh yeah. Come here, big strong man. She like walks in and you guys get to work. You basically have to hold it there for her to, kind of get it just so inside of this little conduit space that kind of makes it hover, and she can attach several different connective measures to it, and it takes a few hours. It's not exhausting, it's just lengthy and tedious.
Girl wants to try to watch what she does.
Okay, give me an intelligence check to try to pick up on it.
Oh, it's gonna go great. One of his things is going to be his guidance. No, wait, can I do that on checks?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's fine.
14 or 15.
15. Okay. How it works, you have no idea. But like what she did in that process, you feel like you got some of it.
As she's working. And,
Oh, sorry. I I should mention that, like, as she was like messing with that flux charger that you gave her, she stripped the whole thing down, like basically threw the cannon portion away. It's just like a very heavy like orb that's like left over. Looks like it's made out of steel, but as she starts playing with it, it's got like different like layers rippled into it, and different like networks and patterns. And part of what she does is like she changes some of the networking, like the rune system on it almost.
As
Hey Kiki, magical networks. Might have to use your thing at some point.
Hell yeah.
as she does her thing, look down and kind of. This work is just kind of still looking and taking it in. Is actually quite amazing. Random question. Since it seems like you're into technology and whatnot, how much do you know about the Tolney?
Not much at all. I'm pretty sheltered for here. Kind of pats her chest. But not for long. I know they've got a lot of advanced tech. I don't know what it's like. Haven't been able to study any of it. Not sure it would make sense to me if I did. All of this, and she gestures. This is self-taught and inherited. Thanks. Like, I don't know you very well. You seem like a nice guy.
I'll try.
It's what part of makes you a nice guy. It's when you actually try. I'm sure. Not ready to share like the whole thing yet. You want to know something weird?
Surprise me.
My full name is Tierman the 11th. That's it.
Well, that makes me feel better about the name I was just given, so...
Yep. I'm sure I'll tell you more after you butter me up some. But for now, we got work to do. So shut your yap.
I'm just kind of laughing a little bit. No hope.
Yeah. Margot, Yaslin, Seamus. Let's go look for Dolphin.
We begin our futile search, yes.
Roll me an investigation check. And it can be an
Ew.
advantage.
I don't know if Seamus is better at this than me.
Pretty good at investigating.
I'm pretty not good, so go for it. Significantly better than I could have done.
In a very short amount of time, using your collective eyes of perceptive powers of Yaslin, Margot, Dyer, and yourself, you successfully catalog about a quarter of the city's animal population in about 3 hours, minus any of the ones that are like hidden underground, like rats or whatever. But you feel
Significantly more chinchillas than I would have expected.
bravo. Take a point of inspiration for using chinchilla accurately in a sentence.
Nice.
I don't know, maybe he's not here. He seemed to be very distressed by the way we go about our business.
I didn't imagine that Dolphin was going to like being in the city for very long, to be honest with you, but do you think he would have left?
I don't know, I did not know him well. We've been traveling with him for what, a week? Less? We know nothing of him.
Oh, we know he's a good man. Stuck it out there to fight.
Yes,
Or two.
but I don't think we were his people.
I think you'd have to be a book to be his people.
That's probably true. I don't know if there's much more we can do. We left a note at the bar. He knows we're going to Aurora's Rest, so if he needs to catch up with us, he knows where to find us, but I don't think we have a way to find him.
Well, let's go back and meet up with Dro and yeah, just confirm. Maybe he's found his way back to the ship or something. He was with you when you were talking with her the other day, right? So he knew where to come even.
Mm-hmm. He did.
I don't imagine they have a dog pound here.
I imagine he would have changed from dog to avoid that problem.
I don't know how it works. At what point do you stop being the dog, or do you just go with it until somebody adopts you and see
I
how
don't
far
think
you
he
can
could-
play that out?
I just don't think he could last that long. He shifted back after a couple hours every time he turned into a bear or the bird thing. It seemed that he could do that at will. I think if
Well,
he
as I
doesn't want to be
recall,
found, we won't find him.
As I recall, there was a very interesting plot point inside of a book about magic once about a man who always stayed as a rat, and they actually thought he was one. Turned out he was a bad guy.
I'm so glad he went with you guys.
How does this help us find Dolphin?
Historical context.
That's not even remotely useful.
Well, I'm keeping us entertained as on our hunt.
Mm-hmm. I wish Draw had come. He could make people quiet for at least a little bit.
At some point, you're going to need my mouth.
I don't
said it
know
that
how to
way.
respond to that.
Which is why I said it. And he walks off like very proudly.
I look at Seamus.
Don't look at me.
I kind of narrowed my eyes at him. I don't remember what you said the other day. You both concerned me. And then I look at Yaslin and drag her after Dyer.
That feels about right.
Can I see if there's anybody else following us? God, I can't roll perception for shit. I'm gonna keep trying because I just have a feeling that somebody is watching us in the city.
Oh, a
Go
lot
ahead
of
and
people
roll your
are.
Perception.
Huh?
Go ahead and roll perception.
Whole city's watching us.
What
Yep,
the
that's
fuck?
about right.
Back, baby, 2024. Rules are getting better.
Still on brand. All right.
New year, not new me.
As you start looking around, you hear. And like you feel your heart beat like lurch out for a second, uncomfortably. Kind of steals your attention away from looking.
As we're making our way back, when we're pretty close to back, I want to do something a little stupid. Can I try to cast my mind into my heart? I want to be close enough back that Yasmin can carry me to the ship if I drop unconscious. And
That's-
close enough that Joe can heal me in time.
That statement. What?
Why don't you just wait until we get to the ship then?
No, because then Joe might stop me. If, if
Dro
he
was
sees I'm doing
busy.
something suspicious.
Roll.
You could vibe into your heart at any point, probably, without us noticing.
I want to
that.
know
Yeah.
if I'm getting us into trouble before we're thousands of feet in the air.
Oh, you've already done it when you made that deal.
You're
What do you
wondering if you're Bruce Banner going on the Shield headquarters ship?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about something like that, especially because you said significant weight can severely shift the ship.
Mhm. Go
Oh
ahead
my
and roll a Constitution check and an Insight check.
Yeah, that's a
I feel
weird
You
like
were
one.
gonna say the word save in there, but you made it check.
It was going to be a save too, but they're both checks.
Okay, as you are navigating both the feeling of your body and where your mind is at, and it's almost like you start to connect it. You kind of imagine your head and like all the blood vessels that like run down into your chest, almost like descending down a long, skinny tunnel, and all you have to grasp onto is this like the veins inside, and you're just like pulling yourself deeper and deeper down. And you get down and you can kind of imagine what your heart looks like. But as you get down there, it's not what you expect. Instead of it kind of looking organic, you see at first what you think is just a kind of a twist of muscle before it turns in a different direction. You see kind of like a bump bump, and you hear that crack again. Bump bump. Bump bump. And it's kind of like you're seeing your heart from like far away in the darkness, and it begins to like come closer to you and closer, and like kind of fade into sight. See, boom, boom. And you feel like you can almost get the shape of the heart properly. Before you do, you see boom, boom. And in that crack, you see like a sliver of light, as if like a flashlight shone between two boards. And you feel kind of like a push away from you. You like snapped back into your own light.
Well, I didn't walk out.
Yet.
Gonna, as casually as possible, walk to the ship.
Sounds good. I'm like waiting for the snuggles to be initiated on you so bad right now.
He's right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're just staring like a weirdo. Come here.
Einstein does that to me all the time. He just stares at me. Yeah, exactly. Bummers. No. Mom, I'm afraid of your tree heart. Don't go looking in it anymore.
Okay. You guys get back to Tierman. Things are all set up there. She says, okay. Well, welcome aboard. It's not her first test flight. But I'd like to consider you the first passengers amongst the maiden voyage for the Blisswing.
Quite an honor. Dro, just so you know, we couldn't find Dolphin. There's not a hide or hair of him out there.
So no
He
doubt.
didn't show up here, did he? No, this is a dog. Well, he's not always a dog. He's a druid, actually.
The dude I was talking to yesterday was a druid?
The dog that was with me, yes, was a druid.
Trippy.
But they appeared
Okay.
he ran off.
Do we stay? Or are you ready to go?
He knows where we're going. And we can't wait indefinitely.
Well, Godspeed, Dogman. I think it's time to get this lady where she belongs. In the sky. Let's get out of here. She presses the button on the remote and those drawbridges like clink back away. She goes and goes up to the
Is there like a bridge at the top level there, or where's the deck?
The deck is a little bit hard to see. The deck is like, so basically where there's like pedals look like they're coming out on the sides. Because of the angle, that is the deck. It's basically like on that. It's like that swoop going up to the nose. That would
Yeah,
be
I
the
gotcha.
deck. Mhm. And then there's another one like up in the back as well.
Can you pop the picture up again?
Mm-hmm.
You should throw it in the chat so that
Lily.
yeah, Lily. I just Yaslin. I just kept wanting to say Yaslin could see it, but
I know, I had to catch myself too.
All right. And she gets everybody up to the kind of pilot's quarters. She says, she gets up there and she puts her hands into this kind of like area, and like all of the wings kind of unfurl completely. And you can see her kind of conduct her fingers, and the wings themselves kind of move. And the little umbrellas kind of pop open on the masts. Alright. She kind of pauses. Thanks, everybody, for giving me a chance. This is a big step in what I've always dreamed for. And she moves her fingers and the wings flap. They begin to rise up. And as she continues, kind of tilts the ship up and out of the lip of the cavern itself, you begin to fly away, looking back at the cavern as it closes back up. And a smoky, fiery, black-sooted town not too far from it. And you guys are in the sky on an airship.
Nice. Nice.
And that is where we will end for today.